But this is what Donald Trump is running on: cruelty to the most vulnerable people on the planet, migrants. It's all part of a plan that's devised by Stephen Miller. Remember Stephen Miller? He worked in the first Trump administration and devised some of the cruelest and most draconian immigration policies ever in American history. It's reported that Stephen Miller once even suggested to Donald Trump that the military should fire on a boat carrying migrants heading into America. That's been reported. This is Stephen Miller before he worked for Donald Trump, previous job that Stephen Miller had. The Times reports that if Miller finds his way back into the White House, this time around, he would be savvier, more schooled in pulling levers of power. In a second Trump administration, Stephen Miller would possess the skills necessary to implement a much crueler and harsher zero-tolerance immigration plan requiring zero legislation. Working with lawyers from the Heritage Foundation, Stephen Miller's immigration plan would deploy sophisticated legal workarounds coupled with friendlier justices now in the lower courts and, of course, the Supreme Court, because a good number of those justices have been appointed by and are loyal to Donald Trump. Stephen Miller proudly told the New York Times that Trump would order ICE to conduct massive sweeps of workplaces, indiscriminately rounding up as many undocumented workers as possible. Brought to processing centers, the migrants would be sorted out while being detained indefinitely. He's open about this. Stephen Miller said sweeps would also be conducted by the National Guard and law enforcement officials on loan from red states, the sadists who just can't wait to punish somebody because it feels good to punish people. This is all part of Project 2025, a plan hatched by the Heritage Foundation to hit the ground running on day one of a second administration. Hit the ground running, really more than hit the ground running. They are planning shock and awe. It's what Steve Bannon originally wanted the first time around with the first 4 years of the Trump administration, but he and Trump and Stephen Miller lacked the resources and the understanding of how the administrative works and how it can be deconstructed. Now they understand it, and they're getting a lot of help from the Heritage Foundation. Donald Trump's new plan is to implement a variation on what is called the Green Bay Sweep, a plan devised by Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. Navarro was Trump's former economic advisor, who, along with Bannon, was found guilty of contempt of Congress after they refused to testify before the January 6th committee and explain their plans for a Green Bay Sweep in the halls of Congress on January 6th. We've gone over the Green Bay Sweep. Now, when it comes to immigration, the Green Bay Sweep means Trump's Border Patrol would flood the zone so quickly that immigration activists here in America couldn't respond to the speed, scale, and efficiencies of these deportations, many of which would be illegal. Stephen Miller, a dead ringer for Heinrich Himmler, actually has another term for this. He's calling Trump's new immigration plan a blitz, a blitzkrieg, a blitz, a Nazi idiom describing the quick, overwhelming, and we've since learned methamphetamine-induced German invasions of France and Poland. By the time migrants, their lawyers, Democrats, journalists, Congress, inspector generals, and Biden holdovers in the Justice Department even realized what happened, Trump and Stephen Miller would have already removed these so-called undesirables from our homeland. And once these people, these undesirables, have been removed, including ones with visas, perhaps even U.S. citizens. Good luck getting them back into America. We know that during the Trump administration, U.S. citizens were caught up in ICE raids and shipped off to Haiti, Mexico, and Central America, U.S. citizens who had a hard time getting back into the country because they weren't white. Miller is thinking like a big tech Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Move fast and break things. That's what the first 100 days of the Trump administration, round 2, will look like. Move fast and break things. In Silicon Valley, when experimenting with new concepts like artificial intelligence or self-driving cars, the motto is, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. Trump and Stephen Miller are planning a similar attack. Break things, break a lot of things, and break them quickly. Then, when it's time to ask for forgiveness, flood the courtrooms with an army of administration lawyers to defend the policy, while Trump's opponents try to pick up what's left of the pieces, if they can even find the pieces. We've already heard Trump talk about immigrants, migrants, poisoning our American blood. We've already heard him refer to people he disagrees with as vermin. This is obviously not original, and he's not channeling Germany in the 1930s. He's not evoking Hitler. He's copying him word for word. Now, Trump is a goofball. Stephen Miller is not. Trump is a goofball. Trump is in the Donald Trump business. Trump runs the danger here of starting something that creates a life of its own. He ran for president in 2016 as a branding exercise. He didn't expect to win, but for reasons beyond his control, including Vladimir Putin, it turned into something nobody could imagine, including Donald Trump, like actually getting elected president. You saw on election night how stunned he was and his family. They thought this was just a goof. Now, Trump, this time around, actually needs to get back into the White House because that way it will be harder to lock him up, if he's president. And to get reelected, he's using the language of genocide to rev up his base. It's a political trick. He does he believe it? I think he doesn't believe he believes it. I think he thinks the American people are stupid and they'll buy it. Then there are people like Stephen Miller who not only believe it, they're trying to implement it. This isn't politics for somebody like Stephen Miller. This is a hateful, mentally defective monster, Stephen Miller. This is not politics for Stephen Miller. This is ethnically cleansing America to make sure English-speaking white citizens maintain their power, no matter how outnumbered they are demographically. So, Trump, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here, I think he's just playing with fire. Setting things into motion, however, that can move way too quickly, especially with an accelerant like a homegrown terrorist attack or a severe economic recession. So he's playing, if God forbid he becomes president, he's playing this fascism game with the ethnic cleansing. All it needs is an accelerant like a homegrown terrorist attack or a severe economic recession for him to save his ass by following through with these campaign promises to purify our blood. Trump is and isn't a fascist. He's a Trumpist. He's a Trumpist. In the end, there's no ideology other than what is good for Donald Trump. He uses the language of fascism, the tactics, but he, in the end, just wants he just wants what's good for Trump. He doesn't care about America or the ethnic purity of its people. He does and he doesn't. But the people he surrounds himself with, the people who gravitate to him, they not only speak the language of fascism, they are obedient to it. Stephen Miller, Steve Bannon, they have a vision for America that is as ugly as they are, and it doesn't include me or you.